No public participation. Right. So, there is an understanding in public participation because the last time I wanted to speak on the table, which I was allowed to speak in public participation, you said I couldn't talk. So this time, to speak from the public gallery, which I hopefully I'll be allowed to talk. I'm speaking on behalf of all the people of Henley that elected me to be a councillor in the first place. So I'm first and foremost I'm speaking as me, because I was a person before I became a councillor. And as you lot around the table, are all elected by the townspeople to serve the town and to make sure that our environment is safe to bring our children up here. Now, recently, it's been brought to my attention, where I live is on Makin's recreation ground. They've selected that for a 5G mast. Well, you can send these in an email to me. You've got my email. You can send an answer to all these questions that I'm going to ask you now. Freeman's Meadow was one of the selected sites for rejected. I want to know why that was rejected. Why Games was one of the places that they said, I'm sure you councillors have discussed this beforehand, because it's been on the agenda, but it's only been brought to my attention just recently. About 5 or 6 leaflets were actually handed out in the Gainsborough estate. Why, if it's a meadow, a recreation ground that everybody's involved in, everybody plays skates up there, they skate up there, they swing, squash, it's used entirely for the people of Henley to use the recreation ground. Yet you want to put a 5G mast there. 5G mast is 20 metres high, tall, with a radius. This is the radius, the frequency that it sends out to 500 metres. 500 metres is a 7-minute walk from that pole to anywhere. Within 7 minutes of that radius, whatever you can cover in 7 minutes, that's the area it covers. So that will cover the Trinity School, Sacred Heart School, they're not being notified about this 5G mast there, as well as they should be notified, because it affects their well-being. Also, we keep saying and going on about biodiversity. All you councillors around the table, you know what biodiversity is, and you know what it's all about. And one of the main things is protecting our wildlife. Without our wildlife, we don't exist. So on that side that you've selected, habitat, proof, not fiction, not made up, proof. Animals that are up there consist of bats, which are at the old waterworks, bats, seven different species of bats, bees, butterflies, hedgehogs, foxes, deers, snakes, slowworms, and insects. Those are the insects. We've used that area all along that embankment on both sides of putting a flower meadow, and we were talking about doing that again. I see no purpose of putting a flower meadow in if you're going to put those masts in, because if you understand the logic of anything, everything works on frequencies. Those masts work on frequencies, same as all the insects, all the bees, and all the animals, all work on frequencies. And if you check, it's 24 gigahertz that gives out. That interferes with quite a lot of wildlife.
So, Councillor, could you please wrap up this switch slot?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And also the land, according to the developers or the people that are putting the mast in, the land was known as this scrubland. I find that being very offensive. This is not a scrubland, it's a park where everybody enjoys their life and everything else. The other thing is, what you probably don't know, is all the lampposts, all the new lampposts, got all these LED new lampposts that are all around town. They all got 5G transmitters on the top of them. So if you look at each lamppost, on the top of the lamppost, you will see a 5G transmitter. So that mast sends out 500 meters, so those receivers and things, so dot it on the tank. Why don't you just
Councillor Errington.
put it somewhere else, don't put it up there.
Thank you. And thank you for making those points. I'm sure the officers will be able to respond. And just for the record, at the last full council meeting, I gave you a chance to speak on any subject apart from the one that had been asked and answered. Right. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Charlotte Wolf. I live at 62 Gainsborough Hill. I want to persuade all of you and the town to stand together and fight against the planning application by tenants, the 20-metre 5G mast at the top of Making Threat, that the South Oxfordshire District Council are apparently in support of. This is a mast that will be for EE and potentially only one other provider, despite the South Oxfordshire District Council asking for it to be for more. You can't support more than 2 providers. Firstly, tenanting 3 windows is thankfully unsuitable, as it would be out of keeping and overlooked by all sides of properties. It's exactly the same with the rec. I know that in the planning application they claim you can't see from the houses on Gainsborough Hill, but we've checked and it is visible from our home. It would also be visible from the upper floors of the houses all along Grays Road, even if not from the path as they claim. I can see the windows of those houses as well as down to the Valley Road area when I stand at the proposed base of the tower, let alone what that would look like if it was 20 metres in the air. The tree line doesn't help as they claim that it would. Secondly, they haven't submitted anything looking at the stability of the ground in that area. I know that there was a survey done for the skate park, so I don't understand why tenant haven't done one as well for that section. It's right by the end, it's right on the edge, and this was landfill. In previous years, so it may be unstable. The environmental impact assessment that they have submitted, it claims that there are no slow worm sightings in that area, but there are slow worms in the adjacent garden, which is just a few metres away. So I felt that that is unlikely. Tenant themselves said the fire station would be the perfect location, as it already has the O2 and telephonic mast, but that tower is in a state of disrepair, and that it won't support both masts. If you push back, if the town pushes back, and we stand up for the rec, as I hope that we will, and the SADC reject this application, then hopefully Tenant will have to repair the tower and they can put it there. Finally, the SADC's rejection of Tenant's similar application in July said that the site is designated as a local green space in the HHMP, and the related policy EMV4 states that proposals for development on these local green spaces will only be permitted in very special circumstances. This land is gifted to our town for the purposes of recreation, and I'm worried that this sets precedent for future development. It's unnecessary to build a mast there, and the application is not sound and it's not convincing. In closing, I have 2 questions for you as the town council. Will you challenge Tenant, and will you challenge the SADC, and ask why this is now considered to be a very special circumstance? Will you object to this planning application on behalf of the town and as the owners of this land? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak on the masts matter? Right, if you go there, we'll take all the questions.
My evidence comes from 3 charities: the EMF Radiation Trust, AICS, based in Wokingham, and SAIDS now. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I have EMR syndrome. I'm extremely sensitive to radiation, and I'm unable to be in any 5G area without my legs going to jelly, my brain stopping, and other body functions collapsing. All classic radiation symptoms, and there are many like it. 5G is a short microwave radiation, which is totally different to 4G. 24 gigahertz masts have a field of around 500 meters, as David said. The new streetlights do carry a small 4G cell in them to facilitate the 5G waveband, and I've got the evidence here. Human and animal life tune in with the Schumann resonance, a natural band of frequency which sits around our Earth at 7.83 hertz. Note the difference, hertz, 7.83 hertz to 24 gigahertz. Excess radiation used in warfare for generations is known to cause illness. Why, therefore, do people think this type of radiation is any different? because governments and telecommunications companies tell us it is safe. Governments follow ICNIRP guidelines. ICNIRP is a German-based company which uses others' research and is funded by the telecommunications business. Their evidence for the radiation from these masts is based on only 30 minutes exposure, not the 24/7 to which the residents will be exposed permanently. ICNIRP themselves do not give out certifications, so any certificate presented by a developer as a certificate is a false instrument. Nowhere in ICNIRP's guidelines do they say the radiation from these masts is safe. Absolutely nowhere. Instead, they say substantial adverse health effects from the masts are not proven. That doesn't mean they're safe, they're not proven. That's not enough under the precautionary principle to prove that radiation from these masts is safe. There is a universal law which overrides telecom legislation and acts which says, do no harm. Every time you or I use a cell phone, the phone connects to the mast at the same frequency as the mast. You are holding that mast frequency in your hand. A power-hungry 5G tower has a huge carbon footprint, totally out of tune with net zero. I'll give you a few facts now. Cancer risks increased within 350 meters of the radiation field of these masts. Swisscom, a telecommunication company, has a patent out that proves that white blood cells are damaged by non-thermal pathway. ICNIRP only mentions thermal pathways, that's the heated pathways from the south from the
Sorry, can I please ask you to conclude?
Pardon?
Can I please ask you to conclude?
Okay, well, I'll just give you a few more facts. Michael Mansfield, our top human rights officer, is a custom of life-threatening cases around the 5G mast, which is into the Court of European Rights. The Spanish village, Bellevare, 30 deaths in over 50 cancer cases where the Vodafone mast was erected. Children with vulnerable organs absorb 10 times more radiation. Can Henry Town Council provide us with the exact clause in your public liability insurance which shows that your council is indemnified against claims for harms caused by EMF radiation? You can provide, I will conclude, you can blindly accept the government's stance that this technology is safe when there is so much evidence to the contrary. But can you sleep at night knowing that you could have possibly condemned the young, the old, the frail, or those with metal in their bodies, because you cannot only have 5G masks with metal in your bodies, to excess levels of radiation that you cannot categorically say is safe? I should draw your attention to the seriousness of your application for a 5G mask and to the situation you could face, both as a council and personally, in terms of liability, if not alone ethics. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think we'll all agree these are all very valid points that have been raised. The Town Council in this issue wears two hats. The first is as the landowner for Lakelands Recreation Ground, and the second is as a planning consultancy. As a landowner, when we were first approached by Talent on behalf of the EU, we did reject their proposals. We said no, thank you. However, they pushed back and said, this is the site we are going for. And the legal advice that we received was that if they were so minded to go for this site, and we rejected it, that they would take us to tribunal. And under the current legislation, they would win, and they would be able to go ahead with the installation anyway. So the legal advice that we received was that basically, as a landowner, and as other landowners who have 5G masts put on their land, we have very little powers, because the tribunal would override that, and it would be a very costly process for no gain whatsoever. On the other side, as a planning consultancy, it would be a matter that would be dealt with by the planning committee, I don't know if it'll be dealt as, I know the planning application went in a few weeks ago. I don't know if that should be considered by the planning committee as a planning application. Yes, I'm looking around the room to see if that's the case. I will have to double check the latest agenda to double check whether or not it's going to be dealt with the next planning committee meeting. But the points that you raise as to whether or not it is the best site, whether or not there are other sites available, whether or not it should be placed with the others on the fire station tower, if that was reinforced, and why the other sites haven't been considered, then that would be a matter for the district council as the local planning authority. In the planning application, they as you've seen, they do have an assessment of all the various sites and why they have been rejected. Whether or not that holds water would be a matter for the district council as the local planning authority, rather than the town council as the landowner. Because that, if they are minded to go with our site, then it doesn't. If we reject it, it doesn't matter if they have rejected other sites as to whether or not they want to join the tribunal on those grounds. It would be a planning matter before that.
Thank you very much, Councillor Clark. Would anyone else like to speak?
Jeff Probert of 60 St Mark's Road. Just want to make some comments on the Marshlock Horse Bridge, which I know the Town Council has been very active in trying to get over. It's possible that some of the detail of the reports hasn't necessarily been fully considered. There seem to be 3 reports that are available. The Capital report dated June 2022. This report contains the much stated alleged 161 defects statistic, of which 61 are said to be red on 100 amber. I noted that one of the red elements is the existence of a coot's nest adjacent to a pier, others related to missing small bits of anti-slip material. So 161 of itself is a very suspect figure. An October 22 report by Red 7 was an underwater report survey. This report noted that whilst many of the piles suffer from significant section loss greater than 25%, that the bridge's typical traffic is not likely to pose a significant loading issue resulting in pile failure, which again is another often stated bit of misinformation in my view. The third report by WSP, these were all commissioned by the Environment Agency, was dated at the end of January 2023, so it's the latest one. This identified 43 defects in greater than 1 to 5. That's to say very good, good, fair, poor, or very poor. All were in the range of very good to fair, and concluded that the overall condition of the bridge was fair and provided a note of the works required. The second report, that's to say the underwater report, did note that the wall supporting the tail end, that's the downstream end of the bridge, was bulging on its upstream side, and also noted that this wall appeared to be in private ownership. The failure of this wall, likely caused by a nearby tree, according to them, may also be affecting the Mill Road discharge culvert. This would affect the bridge landing's immediate vicinity. I believe it's therefore imperative that the ownership of this wall was established and the owner contacted with a view to getting it repaired. I would ask that the Town Council uses its good offices to start this process, because the Environment Agency are bound to, whatever they, even if they agree with the payment of 43 defects, will use the abutment on the wall as an excuse not to start the works, apart from the fact they claim they've got no money. That's a different story. But I would ask that this point about the wall is started to be addressed, otherwise it will prove yet another hold to the opening of this bridge, which is, after all, a national trail. And one subject that's been mooted recently is, can we use crowdfunding, as it is a national trail, to perhaps get people outside of the heavy environment to contribute to it through the Grounders Association. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As you know, really being about bridges is a subject close to my heart. And, I'll be very happy to meet with you further to discuss this. So I'll be very happy to meet with you to further discuss this. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak in public participation?
One other.
Yes.
I recently received through social media a very glossy background to the proposed redevelopment of the Emstead, that's the Stuart Turner Emstead. It talks about a consultation which was due to on the 15th of January. Came out just over the Christmas period, so everybody's been involved with Christmas, New Year, and subsequent recovery. I believe it's in a pre-application stage. There's nothing yet for the council to comment on.
No. Thank you very much. I see no one else, so shall we move on to minutes of the previous full council meeting. Does anyone have any comments?
Sorry, I did have one more question, but it was on my hand. And so they asked the question, will the town council challenge tenant and the SAPC and ask why this is considered a very special circumstance? So you answered my other question, thank you very much, Erin. I just wondered if you'd also ask them why this is now considered a very special circumstance under the policy EN people.
I don't know what stage it is with the planning committee and their consideration of it, so I need to double check that.
Okay, that's about that. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Thank you. Apologies.
No, that's it.
Right, so are there any comments on the minutes of the previous council meeting? I see none. Rose, do I have a seconder? Thank you. All in favour? Thank you very much. Right, reports of committees. First up is planning. Councillor Buckley, Councillor Thompson, would you care to?
Thank you. I hereby present the minutes of the meeting of the Planning Committee held on Tuesday, 5th of November. 112 apologies for absence. 113 declarations of interest. 114 minutes. 115 public participation. 116 plans amended. 117 plans new. 118 objections, calling applications. 119 decision notices. 120 planning application at 48 St Mark's Road. 121 budget. 122 request for consideration of a proposal to rename part of Norman Avenue. 123 local plan consultation. 124 telecom apparatus at Grays Road. 125 progress report of applications called in. And 126 progress reports. I do so move.
All in favour? Karen? Is there a second? I believe so. Yes. I believe there's a second.
That's good.
Yes. Councillor Thompson, would you like to read out the order for the 17th?
Thank you. I hereby present the minutes of the Planning Committee held on Tuesday, the 17th of December. 135 apologies for absence, 136 declarations of interest, 137 minutes, 138 public participation, 139 plans amended, 140 plans new, 141 objections, calling applications, 142 decision notices, 143 planning appeal, 144 pedestrian crossings in Henley, 145 government consultation on future social housing rent policy, 146 government consultation on planning committees, 147 progress report of applications called in, 148 progress reports. I do so move.
Thank you very much. All in favour? Thank you very much. Councillor Dodds, recreation duties, please.
Very much. I wish to present the minutes of the meeting of the Recreation and Communities Committee
held on Tuesday, 26th of November. 40 apologies for absence, 41 declaration of interest, 42 public participation, 43 minutes, 44 progress. Installation of the CCTV, I think, is mid-January, and I'm told it's going to be pointing towards the sitting out area, not the area where our famous mermaid is located. Item 45, finances, 46, budget, 47, memorial, baby loss memorial tree. An update on that the Sue Riley Woodward area has been agreed with Hannah, the mum who approached us, and I think we're all very happy with that solution, and look forward to it, particularly because our staff will be mowing it more and looking after that area. So I think that's a happy outcome. 48, riverbank repairs update. 49, Cranwell Cemetery, digital cemetery map, I-7.
All in favour? Thank you very much. The absence of Councillor Lambert. Councillor Hoskins, can I invite you to read the town meeting minutes?
This is the town community commission held on the 19th of November. Item 53, apologies. Item 54, declaration of interest. Item 55, public participation. Item 56, minutes. Item 57, water quality testing. Item 58, communication manager update. Item 59, town centre manager update. Item 60, finance. Item 61, budget. Item 62, progress report. I so move.
Thank you. All in favour? Thank you very much. Councillor Rice, finance strategy and management.
I'd like to present the minutes of the Finance Strategy and Management Committee meeting held on the 3rd of December. Item 66, apologies. Item 67, declarations of interest. Item 68, public participation. Item 69, grant applications. Item 70, minutes. Item 71, finance. Item 72, expenditure. Item 73, 2025-26 budget. Item 74, audits. Item 75, remote meeting attendance. Item 76, exclusion of the public and press. Item 77, legal updates. Item 78, 353-357 Reading Road, contains a recommendation rather than a resolution of that committee, and I'd like to omit that from the approval of these minutes, pending discussion of confidential session of this meeting at the end of this, towards the end of this meeting. So I'll be proposing these without item 78.
Thank you.
Item 79, Henley Bells Club. Item 80, staffing. And with the exception of item 78, I so move.
Thank you very much. All in favour? Thank you very much, Councillor Wilson. I'm going to propose now that we move move that item to the back of the agenda.
Yeah, if I need to make a proposal, then yes, I propose that at the end of the meeting we discuss item 78 of the
Second is, all in favour? Thank you very much. Reports of other authorities. I believe this is the
Thank you. You have a double whammy of district reports and my county council report. I would just
briefly mention the local government reorganisation that's taken place. In December, Angela Rayner announced that there was going to be, or there may be, a local government reorganisation. It will affect Oxfordshire in terms of maybe removing SNDC and rail and it becoming a complete unitary authority, although there are problems with that. It's really just to say what the process is. The process is that in January, Liz Leffman, who is the leader of Oxfordshire County Council, expresses an interest that Oxfordshire may be interested in a new structure. And as soon as that letter is put into Angela Rayner, then discussion about various options take place. It doesn't have to be whole Oxfordshire, it can be 2/3 of Oxfordshire, excluding the city, it can be a combination of the Vale and SODC and even West Berkshire. So all options are on the table at that particular point. And as you can imagine, this is going to be an absolutely massive reorganisation. The only important thing that I just want to say is that we must keep our eye on the ball to make sure that when the reorganisation happens, that powers are devolved down to the lowest common denominator. We should have more powers in Henley. We should have more powers in the district council. There are certain things that it's good to have a big lump on. For example, waste collection. Why is it done in 2 areas, south of the Vale? Why not the whole of Oxfordshire? So there are economies of scale to be had. But as I said, the letter will probably go in on the 15th of January, so fairly soon, and then we will have a full council debate at Oxfordshire County Council. And of course, I will keep you informed as to what's happening. And at the moment, we are clueless as to what's going to happen. So therefore, I can't give you any information. So thanks very much. And you have our reports from Kelly and also from Ken. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Garrett. So, last is our next report on outside bodies. Would anyone like to give an update on outside body they represent council? I have one very swift update from the River and Rains here, where excitingly they are taking over the Cafe Museum as of tomorrow. Hopefully that's a nice new chapter in the museum and further work towards sustainability. Next one. Oh, sorry.
Just to share an update that Greener Hadley has been awarded charity status.
Oh, congratulations. That's very, very good news indeed. Congratulations to the trustees on this and that. Good luck to the Yes.
Good days.
Right, so next is Mayor's civic engagements. It has been rather busy over the last few weeks. It's been wonderful to see all the Christmas things, and I want to apologise to everyone as I let down due to being ill just before Christmas. It wasn't my choice, but I look forward to many more in 2025. Thank you to all who have supported me throughout my engagements in 2024. Next, we have the 2025-26 civic year budget and precept. Councillor Morrison.
Right, it's our duty as a town council to set a precept and to find our budget, and we need to do that in this meeting in order to meet our timeframes. So I would like to propose that as follows. This town council approves the budget as attached to the agenda of this meeting and sets the precept to be £1,019,237 for the year 2025-2026. As a result, the average boundary council tax charged by the town council increases to £163.64 per year per household, which is an increase of £9.11 or 18p per week per household. So So I so move. We've got a seconder. I'd like to speak to that.
Second by councillor Plant.
Thank you, Councillor Fnatt. So to be clear, the precept is the amount of money that we ask the district council to collect on our behalf from the residents of the town in the form of council tax in order to fund the activities of this council in providing services and other things to the residents of the town. And the precept makes up about half of the income of the town council. We get other income from the form of charges that we make for services and also the income from our investments on other assets. And the officers have worked diligently, and I'd like to thank them for doing that. So this budget, I believe, meets the needs and aspirations of the residents of our town. This budget increases spending, and we're also setting aside some of the money to help rebuild the town council's reserves. And this continues the direction that we've been taking, in which we are rebuilding our reserves in order to make sure that we operate in a way that financially is sustainable. For too long in recent years, we have operated a deficit, and our reserves have reached a level which we consider not to be sustainable in the long term. The Town Council is ambitious about providing the services residents expect, and we want to do this. But we do need to make sure that our reserves remain sustainable. The Value for Money Committee has been working over this last year on a 5-year financial plan, which lays out the spending and the amounts of money that we think we will have in the form of long-term commitments. And those commitments are outlined in our 4-year strategic plan. And the existence of those two documents is an important part of the responsible way that this council is conducting its financial plan. It's clear that we have a number of spending commitments over the next few years which will require us to make sure that we have sufficient reserves. And this budget is designed to meet those ambitions. We've been working on the budget since September. Officers, the committee, the finance committee, and councillors, and all the committees, to make sure that we draw a plan for this year, and that this is now attached to the agenda. We want to increase our spending to provide improved services, build up our reserves, and at the same time keeping the council tax rise below inflation. We were on target to do that until the budget in November, when the Chancellor of the Exchequer announced employers' national insurance contributions would be rising by 2%. As a result, this town council has seen a £25,000 increase in our salary bill, and we've been unable to avoid passing on this cost. But for that, we would have achieved our goal of keeping the council tax rise below inflation. And of course, not only does the rise in national insurance contributions affect this town council, it affects other businesses and other organisations in the town. And so our suppliers will also have increased costs, which they've been passing on to us. So we lose out, and a number of other organisations and companies around the town will also lose out. Ironically, the Chancellor of the Exchequer did exempt the public sector from these national insurance contribution rises, but this town council doesn't qualify because we don't receive government money, and therefore we are not regarded as part of the public sector insofar as these contributions are concerned. The district council does and is exempt, we're not. It doesn't seem to make much sense to me, but there we are. So as a result, we are raising the average Band D council tax, but it's by 18p per week per household. And if you look at all the improvements that we're making to town, we're maintaining the town hall and other infrastructure, we're improving bus service, and there are many other amenities and facilities which we're looking to improve. And we're proud of meeting the town's ambitions and meeting the goals of our strategic plan. And this budget achieves that, and I would like to recommend it. The value for money that this council does offer compares favourably with other towns in South Oxfordshire. So in Tame, the average Band D council tax is £211, in Wallingford it's £199, and in Sonnycommon it's £164. And so we compare favourably with those, and I think we provide better services too. I'm very pleased to move this proposal to approve the budget and increase it.
Thank you very much, Councillor Rice. Does anyone wish to speak to this? Is all in favour? Thank you very much. Yes, not actually.
And so the committees.
Yes. Next, policies. To review and approve, firstly, biodiversity policy that has been put forward. As a bit of background, I believe this is in order for us to progress within the local council award scheme to achieve our aspirations to get gold status, as well as the fact that it's good to have a biodiversity policy in the first place. So, first, does anyone wish to speak to this? Do I have a proposal to adopt? Councillor Kandar? Yes, Councillor, you can speak, you may stay seated. I'm not bound on that rule.
You? Yeah, just to say, I really welcome this policy and I look forward to seeing this policy can put into practice and Henley become more greener, more biodiverse and more sustainable and a place where everyone welcomes nature into their gardens, into their lives, and together we can be a more flourishing community. So I look forward to seeing this bear fruit and bloom and blossom.
May I take that as a proposal for the?
Yeah.
Excellent. That's last.
At the end of the document, there is a focus on the community.
Sorry.
A focus on the community.
Yes.
And one of the things I think is necessary is to engage with local people in a more aggressive manner than just putting out newsletters. And I think that should be part of the consideration for going forward.
I'm pleased to say that our project officer for biodiversity started with us on Monday, and that is from the long list of projects that community engagement is one of those, and part of what she will be looking to help us achieve, along with the communications manager.
Do I have a second of the policy before we continue the vote? Councillor Grant? Thank you.
I'd just like to, I was going to say, where's our council plan to do that? I hope it achieves a unanimous support. Biodiversity is critical. It was pointed out earlier in the meeting that biodiversity is something we all depend on. We also have legal obligations as a council to meet the biodiversity the legislation mandates us to do. And as has been pointed out, we all are affected by the loss of diversity, the biodiversity, which has been evident in recent years. And we need to make sure that we do everything we can locally to make sure that the environment and the nature that we all depend on is preserved and enhanced. And at the moment it's going in the wrong direction. And I'm delighted the biodiversity officer has started. I'm a member of the climate emergency, no, it's not called the climate emergency, I'm a member of the climate and nature emergency working group. And there's plenty of work for us to do, and I hope we keep the biodiversity officer very busy over the next 2 years.
Would anyone else like to speak? In which case, use the vote, all in favour? Thank you very much. And next we have the co-option policy. Do I have a proposal?
It's very straightforward.
One second. Councillor Hoskins, thank you. Would anyone get it?
This is a requirement for the next item on the agenda, which is our golden award status application, which the town clerk is keen to proceed on. So this is the last missing piece. But it's also useful that in the event that we do have a co-option, which did happen relatively recently, that we have it also.
That's the end of the speak. Use the vote, all in favour? Thank you very much. Next, we have the local council award scheme. The resolution is The required document information and conditions are in place for the local council not involved. And these are published on the council's website where applicable. Do I have a proposer? Councillor Bott. Secretary? Councillor Thomas? Does anyone here speak to this? No, just use the vote. All in favour? Thank you. Lastly, Marsh Lock Footbridge. To receive a report on the renewal of the Marsh Lock Footbridge and consider further actions. Councillor Rushton.
We heard from a member of the public earlier about this, and I think it does reflect that there is a widespread concern, not just locally, but also nationally. There's a big gap in the, significant gap in the National Trail, which this bridge represents. It's been closed for a couple of years now, and there is no immediate sign of it reopening. And I think we all have expressed concerns, which are reflected across the community. The issue is not straightforward, and I would like to propose that we refer this back to the Finance Strategy Management Committee. Firstly, to consider any issues arising from the town council, from the town clerk's report, which requires further investigation, but also to ensure that the member of the public's points, some of which were news to me, certainly, maybe they're to others, can be taken into account, and we can take the best action that we can. But what we should be making very clear now is that we are dismayed at the continuing closure of this path and at the failure of the relevant organisations, whether it's the Environment Agency, the Highways Authority, whatever it is. We want them to put them under pressure to live up to their obligations and have this bridge installed and reopened. So I certainly refer.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Do I have a seconder for that, Councillor Rhodes? Would you like to speak? No? So I completely agree with Councillor Ross's points there. And not only is Marsh Lock Bridge closed, 10 bridges closed, you can't take 10 miles away the direction from Henley to the nearest town, which is disgraceful. But I agree with the proposal. Then as we should speak, we'll move to the vote. All in favour? Any proposal postponed? See, I think I need to propose that we now exclude the public press. Yes. Well, I say we exclude the public press in accordance with the Public Bodies Admission to Meetings Act. Right, so Councillor Clark, thank you. All in favour? Thank you very much. For those of you who are unfortunately now having to leave us, please feel free to go to the council chamber downstairs where you can partake in